we met in this really special way, actually. So we were on a trip to Antarctica that almost didn't happen at first. Like the ship was delayed because there were 40-foot waves happening in the Drake Passage. And the Drake Passage is this like kind of like scary, like it ends up being fine when you do it, but everyone's like, oh, are we going to die? And so like the whole crew's like 40-foot waves. And we were like, I don't know how you were, but I was like, ah. So we're like going to Antarctica in this like very full on weather experience. And you're there. I had never met you before. And Mama Gina is there, the creator of this practice called swamping, which is where you get so deep into the garbage, the shadow, the stuff that you've been holding back, the stuff that you haven't expressed. And you really express it through your entire body, whatever you're enraged about, whatever's been hard for you, whatever you're grieving. And it's this like cracking open of your whole being.
Yeah.
So Regina wanted us to do swamping. And as far as I know, she'd only really done it with women in her whole career. And our friend Mickey ended up bringing you and 2 other male friends. And Mickey likes to just bring people along all of a sudden. And she was like, this is going to be great. And Regina was like, hell no, these men aren't coming. No way. And you guys being the gentlemen that you are, were like, oh, it's okay, we'll go. And I was like, Regina, I think you should let them come. I was like, if we're surrendering, like they're here. So like, let's trust that process. And so we all went into this like tiny little cabin, right? Because like these ships have like super small rooms. And we went into swamping and I actually started it. And I remember just being on the bed. So we all crowded around on the floor in chairs and the stage was like the ship bed. And I remember expressing like the depth of my sorrow at being a sex witch and a high priestess and my experience in that moment at that time of men being so afraid of that and being conditioned to be so afraid of that and the heartbreak and the sorrow of that. And I remember wailing and screaming and expressing that through my body. And I don't think you and I had ever even spoken. So that was your first experience of me. And then the tables turned and you got to go. Do you want to share your experience of that?
It was terrifying. It was terrifying. Because Regina, I guess, I don't remember who was emceeing the event, but yeah, you were sort of like I think presented as like a seasoned swamper. Like she'll go first and show you how it's done, you know, and there was a couple more people who went before it was my turn who had obviously done it way before. So I was extremely nervous.
Yeah.
Because yeah, you like you're in front of these strangers and then you're going to express with your words what baggage you're carrying around at that time.
Yeah.
And so that's embarrassing right away. And then I don't know if I should get into like but then she plays a song.
Yeah.
And then you're prompted to like let go of that rage physically.
Yeah.
And then Regina, says, add a little turn on to and she goes, that will transmute, your rage. I don't know if I did so good on that last part.
Oh, you sure did. I remember you sure did. We were all like, what?
But, this I think is a great gateway into the conversation because, we as men hold on to a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
Because we're like the warriors.
Yeah.
And we want to be strong all the time. And that's an important part of our being.
Yeah.
Is to like, if you don't express that warrior and that strength, things are going to be off.
Yeah.
At the same time, we probably bottle up a lot and carry around a lot as men. I always say probably like the metric you can measure that by is like, when's the last time you cried? For a woman, I would guess, I don't want to generalize or project, but I would guess that's probably a shorter time since their last cry than for the average man. At least I could say that for myself. And so then, I expressed what I was carrying around at that time. I don't want to go into detail on that. It was some family stuff. And then she put a song on and she's like, okay, let out. And I remember just like taking this pillow and just beating it.
Yeah.
And it was almost like I can remember where I was. All this rage was coming out that I carried around.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, you know, probably any man listening to this knows like that feeling.
Yeah.
Of having this like real anger inside you, but like not knowing where it goes in this society.
Yeah.
And I'm a nice guy. That's probably an adjective people use to describe me as nice.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's probably even worse for me because I'm nice all the time. So it's like I'm just holding on to all this stuff, and so now I'm beating this pillow, and it's like feathers are flying. You know, I'm like, God bless that pillow. You know, and then I remember, you know, you're supposed to add your like turn on to it. So I'm like, I try to do my best with that, but really for me was like the release of this rage. Yeah, and then, you know, like you alluded to, there were two other gentlemen there who are both very close friends of mine who were on this, like, doing this wild new experience also. And, you know, one of them shared they were carrying around was experience we've been through together where we lost people, and, you know, we were just in tears at the end.
Like deep grief.
Yeah,
deep
and letting it out, and to the point where like it was a real spiritual experience. And when it was over, you know, there was like a dinner after. We're like, we can't even go to that right now. Like, we're just like in this, I don't know, altered state of consciousness and in an altered emotional state that we obviously don't go to enough.
Yeah.
You know, so I love that practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember what really struck me in that practice was like, that's sort of always been categorized so far as like a women's practice, right? Because Regina teaches women. Swamping is something that's practiced by women because they're initiated through her school. I'd only ever done it with, actually, that's not true. I had done it with men before, but I had opened the space for them. I'd never seen Regina do it before. And in that, in thinking like, oh, this is a female practice, right? Like you're expressing all of your emotions, and then you're like turning on your grief or your rage or your fear. Like I couldn't have even imagined, like I would have called y'all bros, right? Like you all showed up like these like really cool, nice bros, you know? And then before I knew it, honestly, I will always remember you punching the fuck out of that pillow and also turning it on. It was astounding. It was like, wow, like what is inside of men that we don't give them the space or context to express? And I remember in that moment, right, there's moments when you see someone, it was like you were the most beautiful man in the universe. And I know we all felt that because you were in your emotional truth, moving through your body, and how conditioned men are to not allow that. And there was such a beauty in it, but it's like when you think about it in our conditioning, it would be like, oh yeah, that would feel so feminine, right? Like a man, like in his emotions, in his turn on, but actually it was so masculine. It wouldn't have to be, but it was so powerful. It was so sexy. It was so real. And I was like, wow, like men have this same emotional repression.
Yeah.
They don't understand the power of their own eros to be able to transmute experiences, and to see that and witness that, it was like the highest honor, and also so like humbling of what is inside of men that we don't even recognize as a society. Not only their vulnerability, but like their power and sexiness and primal nature when they own that fully. That's what I saw in you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I felt the same of basically everyone that went in different shades. It felt like everyone just taking their mask off completely, and you saw like their soul really, and the beauty of that, and everyone that participated had a different soul, but they were also beautiful. And I think, I don't know, to get like too schmaltzy, but like that's true of any human. Yeah. You know, one, if they can let go of their mask, and then if we can let go of our like filters looking at them, there's great beauty there all the time.
In every human.
Yeah.